Good morning, children. Today, in this video, we'll be learning about medieval India and political transition. Medieval India and political transition. This is the second chapter from your history, and in this, we will be learning about Rajput dynasty that ruled in North India. It is just a first topic of the medieval India and political transition. In this chapter, you will be learning the Rajput dynasty that ruled in India, northern India, as well as the contribution of Rajput king in literature, art and architecture, arrival of Turks, impact of Muhammad Ghazni and Muhammad Ghori invasion, and the establishment of Delhi Sultanate, their administrations and their contributions. So you have many sub chapters in it. In sense, you have many content in it. So first, to begin with, we will start with the Rajput dynasty that ruled. So here we will be learning what are the different types of Rajput dynasty and how many dynasties were there. So before that, we will understand what is medieval period or medieval India. What is this transitional period? Okay, the period between the second half of the 12th century and the first half of the 13th century is recognized as a transitional period in the Indian history. Transitional period indicates the preparedness of the society to enter from one era to another era. In sense, it brings us a change. In this transitional period, Indian society entered into a medieval period from an ancient time. So, the Turks broke the political system of the small kingdom. They also established an empire which has a strong centralized power. Monotheism was expounded in the field of religion due to the influence of Islam that we have learned it in Islam. And all these development indicates the beginning of medieval period in India. Before the study of the empire established by Turkish, it is necessary to understand the multi-state political system which existed of pre-Turks period, that is before the entry of Turks. The rulers of this kingdom is called as multi-state political system. The study of multi-state political system can be started with the study of Rajput dynasty that ruled western and northern India from 9th century to 13th century. So ancient time the system was different. After that it brought a vast change, political, religious and sociological changes and economical changes, and the administrative part was also changed, and later on you will find that there was various change in all the field and you find Turks entering into India. So much before the Turks entered into India, how was the situation in India? It was a multi-state. What is multi-state? In sense, there were many petty rulers, small kingdoms existed and they had their own rulers. So there was many kingdoms in India. After the rule of Vardhanas of Shantaneshwar. Now let us understand here. After the rule of Shantaneshwar, most of the western and northern India was ruled by Gurjara Pratihara, Chandelas of Bandalkand, Agrawalas, Solankis, Paramaras and many other Rajput dynasties. By the end of 12th century, Rajput king like Prithviraj Chauhan, Jayachandra Agrawal and Paramhara Deva Chandela were the powerful kings of northern India. Gurjara Pratihara. To begin with, there were many dynasties as we have already mentioned here. So, to begin with, we will start with Gurjara Pratihara. Here, Gurjara Pratihara, Agrawalas, Paramaras, Solankis, Chandelas and Chauhans. These are the different types of. So, we will start with Gurjara Pratihara. So, here there are points given: founder, region, capital, powerful rulers, fought and why it got declined or during whose period it got declined. So anyhow it is in few points, so we will understand in detail. The Pratiharas have claimed, Gurjara Pratihara have claimed in many of their inscription that Lakshmana of Ramayana period, a Kshatriya of Saurya Vamsha, was the founding person of their family. But as per to the available evidence, Nagabhatta is the founder of this dynasty. Historical evidence is important. So as per to an historical evidence, Nagabhatta is the founder of Gurjara Pratihara. Pratihara ruled Sindh region by keeping Kannauj as their capital city. They fought back the frequent war attacks from Harapps. So Harapps were the frequent attackers. Mihira Bhoja and Mahendrapala were the most powerful rulers of the dynasty who defeated Palas of Bengal and extended their Pratihara kingdom till Bengal. An Arab traveller named Suleiman had visited the court of Mihira Bhoja and has appreciated the kingdom as it had peace, prosperity and happiness. So Pratihara ruled declined during the ruler of Mahipala who succeeded Mahendra. Next is Agrawals. Agrawals, here Chandradeva, the founder of the dynasty, ruled northern India keeping Varanasi as his capital city. Govinda Chandra is another important ruler of this dynasty. He extended his rule till Malwa, Magadha by defeating Palas. He also defeated the kings of Kalinga and Odisha. The rulers of Kashmir, Gujarat and Chola had cordial relationship with the Govinda Chandra. So, Paramaras. Paramaras came into prominence after the decline of Pratihara. Upendra Krishna Raja, the feudatory king of Rashtrakutas, founded this dynasty. Dhara Nagara was their capital. Bhoja is the most popular king of Paramara dynasty. He extended the Paramara state by defeating the Kalyani Chalukyas, Gangas of Kalinga and northern Konkan. Though Bhoja experienced up and downs in political sphere, he remained undefeated in the areas of literature. He himself was a great poet. As a king, who came after him were weak and Parmara dynasty to decline. Next is Solanki. Solankis. So Moola Raja the first is the founder of this dynasty. Though Bhima first is the most famous king of this dynasty, he could not protect the Somanatha temple from Ghazni invasion. Already Ghazni had invaded and he had a frequent habit of invading, looting the wealth of India and taking away. When he used to take that, he had an idea that our temples, our historical places, what we consider to be the wealth house of king. So many offerings after the winning or many offerings by the kings were stored in temples. So he used to come and destroy the temple and loot their wealth. So he tried many times destroying Somanatha temple. So you will understand after him the Moola Raja II and Veeradwala were capable king. Moola Raja II defeated Muhammad Ghazni near Mount Abu. During the rule of this dynasty, the famous Jain scholar Hemachandra compiled a Prakrit dictionary, Desi Mala, Ulfa and Ulf Khan and Nusrat Khan, the military general of Alauddin Khilji, defeated Karnadeva and made the kingdom of Solanki as a part of Delhi Sultanate. So you will know how Moola Raja defeated Muhammad Ghazni, but that didn't stop them expanding their ambitions in India. They continuously started invading India one after another because the wealth of India was a main attraction to these invaders. So gradually the enemies started increasing, knowing the wealth of India. Slowly you will know n number of enemies, how they settled their positions in India. So here you will know Ulf Khan and as well as Nusrat Khan, both who were the general under Alauddin Khilji, who entered, plundered and destroyed the place and conquered few places and established the kingdom and took it as a part of their. Chandelas. Danga is the most famous king of Chandelas who prospered in Bandalkan. In the beginning, Chandelas were the feudatory kings of Pratiharas. After the decline of Paramaras, Danga declared himself independent. He took hold of the eastern part of Paramara's kingdom and extended his kingdom by defeating Pala and Adras. Danga, who had a title called as Maharajadi Raja, which means to say King of Kings, extended military assistance to Hindu Shahi king Jayapala to fight back attacking Turks. Finally, due to the infight and lack of unity among the Rajput, Khilji Sultanate conquered this kingdom. So what we are learning from this small content of each and every kingdom is, it shows that there was no unity among the people and it was easy for them to access without any effort. They came, plundered the wealth of India. Lack of unity was the main reasons of our loss. If we were united together, instead of having too many kingdom, too many small kingdom, if they were united together to have one big huge kingdom, these attackers wouldn't, even if they had attacked India, they had hardly any chance to win over the kingdoms. So, Chauhan dynasty. The Chauhan dynasty is the most prominent among the Rajput dynasties. The root of this dynasty is visible during the 7th century. The dynasty started its rule in Ajmer region of Rajasthan. The ruler of this dynasty, Ajay Raja, Vigra Raja the 4th and Prithvi Raja the 3rd are the important people, made Chauhan the prominent rulers of the Western India during 12th century. Prithvi Raj Chauhan, the very name which makes us happy, which makes us pride, which makes us feel proud. Prithvi Raj Chauhan is known for his bravery. He defeated many enemies, and few such enemies are Chandelas of Bandalkan, gaining Maheba and Kalinjar. Prithvi Raj Chauhan defeated Muhammad Gori in Tehran. Gori wanted to extend his Gaur kingdom towards the Sindh region. Muhammad Gori was severely wounded in this battle, led another attack towards Delhi in the following year. He defeated Prithvi Raj Chauhan at Tehran, and the very place where the previous battle took place, Prithvi Raj Chauhan is an embodiment of the Rajput valor and bravery. So there are many stories related to it, that it was not just one fight where Prithvi Raj Chauhan had with Muhammad Gori. So there were frequent fight between Muhammad Gori and Prithvi Raj Chauhan. Every time when Prithvi Raj Chauhan is accused in sending Muhammad Gori, made him to pay a heavy price, where he was captured and tortured later. So we will continue with this. Prithvi Raj Chauhan was known for his bravery. So here the assignment is, name the Rajput dynasty in medieval India. Who is the founder of Gurjara Pratihara? Who came to destroy Somnatha temple? And Mula Raja II defeated which ruler and where? Write a short notes on Chauhans.